What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. Woo! Good to be with you guys here. It is December 8th, a day that means a lot to me for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it's my sister's birthday today. She turned 30 years old today. You know her, you love her. She's been a guest on the show. She does all the makeup, all the costuming on the show. She's 30 today, dirty 30. Happy for her. We had a wonderful birthday lunch together, and she's sitting here with me enjoying a good show here. This is my birthday present to you, Sammy, an episode of SLC Puck live and in person, just like I do twice a week. But this one's different because it's your birthday, so you're welcome. Thank you to you guys for tuning in, too. If it's your birthday as well, thank you for tuning in. My name is Austin Facer. I'm the host of SLC Puck, goofy guy, loves hockey, sidekick on Nashcast, all that good stuff. Really happy to be with you guys today. Thank you so much for your support. You guys have been liking, commenting, subscribing, buying my merch. It's the holiday season. Whether you have somebody with a birthday in their life, or you're just looking to get them something for Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Christmas, I recommend heading over to slcpuck.shop. There's a lot of great stuff here. I added a couple new items here, some really cool stuff here. The Clown Show shirt here is really fun, as is this thick old hoodie I just threw up here. Supposedly it's very thick. I haven't seen the sample come in on that one yet, but supposedly it's a nice heavy hoodie, and it's going to fade real nice, so I think that'll be a good one. But you know what really gets my spirits in a good mood? Not just being my sister's birthday, but I went to Stick and Puck at the South Davis Rec Center this morning, and I bumped into someone wearing this SLC Puck beanie. And it happened to be my good friend Aaron Jorgensen, who was the goalie for the Viewmont High School Vikings back in our heyday, 2010. He and Tyler Wolfley were the ultimate 1-2 tandem. They were a brick wall collectively between them. Big reason why we enjoyed the success we did. It was fun to see Aaron, and even more fun to see him walking in wearing this beanie. So get your own if you want to look as good as Aaron Jorgensen. That's what I say. I also just do some more quick housekeeping items. If you've been following the show, you might have noticed that I had like a bonus content episode. I was at the University of Utah hockey game last night. I was invited to be there by the program. Hopped on their broadcast at intermission just to shoot the shit a little bit. I got a cool swoop hat. So go, if you look for something to do, if you need to get some hockey in, go to the University of Utah hockey program. Go catch a game. The game there is awesome, by the way. Let me just say that. They played Utah State last night. It was a Division II game, and one of the kids from Utah State did a Michigan goal just halfway through the first period. Like it was nothing, just scooped it up, put it behind the goalie's shoulder, like it was nothing. It was like the craziest thing I'd ever seen. Had that happened 10, 15 years ago, that would have been like the lead video on ESPN's top 10 highlights. But it was just routine, just a Division II club hockey game, and no big deal, right? So it was really cool, really fun to be there, be a part of that. Again, just a couple other announcements. Nashcast, you've seen me and Tyson Nash. We've done one show already. We were working on the second one right now. That should be coming to you guys on SEG Media, Utah Hockey Club Plus later this month. So that date is coming soon. We're planning it out right now, getting our guests in line, trying to get Jeremy Roenick again. We'll see how that goes. But that should be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, Utah Hockey Club is having a great stretch right now. I really do. I think this might be the Utah Hockey Club kind of hitting a stride right now and playing the best they played all year. I mean, we know the start of the season was a lot of fun. They had a 3-0 start. At one point, they were the highest scoring team in the NHL. Everybody knew Dylan Gunther's name out of nowhere. He scored the first goal. He was scoring power play goals like crazy. There was a dip after that. Injuries took their toll. Sean Dursey, they felt the effect of the John Marino injury as well. There's been others along the way. Now Maverick Lamoureux was also injured. But still, despite all these setbacks and despite some slides, some tough sledding at times, I think right now we're seeing the Utah Hockey Club play really well. They're 3-1-1 in their last 5. That one loss being the loss to Dallas last week, 2-1 decision favoring the Stars, where Casey DeSmith, the Stars backup goalie, looked like a freaking NHL All-Star. Stood on his head, made like almost 40 saves, just totally stymied Utah. Utah was the better team in that game. But I think they just didn't get the bounces they needed to beat the preseason darlings, the Dallas Stars. So anyway, that was that. But most recently, I'm talking to you guys Sunday afternoon, 1:30. Last night, the Utah Hockey Club dismantled the Buffalo Sabres. They went to Buffalo Wild Wings, so to speak, and really chowed down on some wings. That's kind of my fun metaphor way of putting it. I love Buffalo Wild Wings, by the way. Back when I was like tubby, when I was like 50 pounds heavier last year, I was all about Buffalo Wild Wings. It was kind of a joke how much I liked it. It became a joke around the office where I worked. They're like, "Oh, Austin's going to lunch today. Do we need to call ahead and let Buffalo Wild Wings know he's coming?" The answer is no, you don't, because they already knew I was coming. It was kind of on schedule. They were already getting my order ready, but by the time I got there, I don't really go as much as I used to, hey, but I do miss that. But yeah, sorry for the tangent, folks, by the way. We were talking about a hockey game, I think. So last night, 5-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres. Again, I talked about this in the post-game show last night. I was a little nervous about this game. Utah had been off for a few days, and I was worried they would have like the same kind of issues that I run into when I take a break from the gym for a few days, where like I can't put up the same weight. It's not a lot of weight, but I can't put up the same weight after a few days. I'm a little bit rusty. I think that's always a concern with, teams. You get in a certain rhythm, and then, you get a break, and it's like, oh, holy cow, this is how you skate? This is what it looks like when a puck's coming at you and I'm the goalie, that kind of thing. But Utah did really well, and especially considering the game was a little bit earlier in the day as well. I think the puck dropped around 11 our time, so 1 p.m. Eastern over there in Buffalo. But Utah had played an unbelievable game, and I think we need to really give some credit to podcasts for this game. I think lately the Utah Hockey Club has been on a great stretch, and I think it really speaks to the power of podcasting. And I say that as someone who's taking a lot of responsibility for the success the Utah Hockey Club is having. And here's what I mean. Michael Kesselring appeared on the Clean Hits podcast, the day before, leading up to the Buffalo game. He plays in his 100th career NHL game and has an unbelievable performance. He has the Gordie Howe hat trick. He has a goal, an assist, a fight. His goal was sick, by the way. He scored this wrist shot that was like perfectly slotted top right. The Buffalo goalie, whose name I'm not going to be able to pronounce, so I'm not even going to try, looked behind him, looked behind it over his shoulder. He's like, oh, like could not believe like how perfectly shot that was. Kesselring has been awesome, by the way. So I think we have to give credit to the Clean Hits podcast for that. I like to think there's some kind of connection there. In the same way, I'm giving credit to myself for another goal scorer's success in that game, Nick Schmaltz. Big Nick energy, as we like to say. Nicky has been on fire in the 6 games since I've done Big Nick energy, when I did Schmaltz, and go find the clip. You'll see it. But since I've done that, Nicky has been on fire. He's gotten 6 points. And just to rehash, so I did Big Nick energy on November 24th. The next game was against Toronto. No points there. I think he was just digesting what I had put out there, in terms of giving him energy. I think it just took him a little bit to absorb that. The next game they played Montreal. He had 2 assists in that game. I believe he almost had a goal in that one as well. If I'm remembering right, I think a goal by Barrett. I think one of those goals got waved off by goalie interference by Barrett Hayden. It was either that one or Toronto. I'm not remembering, but and I'm probably getting this timeline mixed up. But that's not important. Edmonton 0 points, fine, whatever. But then they head to Vegas. It's the Vegas game where they won 6-0. I think that's really when Nick took it to heart, when he's like, "Wow, Austin was on Nashcast. They put the video on Nashcast. They've started to play this all over the place. I think I've got to get out there. I think I need to have Big Nick energy." He goes out against Vegas, gets 2 goals, gets another goal against Dallas, scores again against Buffalo, 4 goals in the last 3 games. Nick Schmaltz is on fire right now. In the 6 games since then, 6 points, 4 goals, 2 apples. You're very welcome, Nick Schmaltz. That's the power of the podcast. Both me and the Clean Hits guys doing our job to get our boys ready to play. So you're welcome, Utah Hockey Club fans. Don't thank me. Thank the Clean Hits hockey guys. But you can also thank me as well. Hey, we got a little dog here in the studio. That's fun. Did I mention I do this in a basement, by the way? Anyway, but I wanted to touch on Michael Kesselring again, because I think for me, he has been one of the biggest and best surprises this season. Still kind of young in his career. I believe this is just his second season. Has only 100 career games under his belt. But he has been unbelievable, and I really like watching him play. I think, like, especially in a season where the defense has been so maligned by injuries and snake bitten a little bit, I think he's been a really steady, constant presence. And I also really think he kind of lives for the big moments. I think he's really good at embracing the spotlight. I think there's something to like the Sarah Merrifield effect when he gets interviewed by Sarah Merrifield before the game on the bench. I think he just plays better. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what's happening in a metaphysical, spiritual sense. Sarah Merrifield just has this magical effect on Michael Kesselring, and I think that's great. Just go over some of the Utah Hockey Club's biggest wins, biggest moments of the year. Kesselring has a hand in basically all of them, right? So I'm talking about the November 19th overtime win over the Boston Bruins that set the Delta Center on fire. That was like their first big, hard-fought victory. Original six opponent, big national, international brand in the Boston Bruins. Michael Kesselring, Boston boy, went to Northeastern, grew up in the Massachusetts area, gets the game-winning goal. Against Carolina on November 13th, he had 2 assists. Against Vegas on November 30th, against that was the 6-0 victory there. That was where Jackson Stauber was kind of the star, but Kesselring had a hand in that one as well with an assist. And then most recently, last night, again, gets the Gordie Howe hat trick, goal, assist, fight. Kesselring loves the big moment. I think that's just very fair to say. And I've said it once again. I think he is the biggest and happiest surprise that I've seen. And lest we forget, the guy can rip it. The guy, for being like as tall as he is, I think he's probably like 6'4", 6'5". That's not a great height for hockey players. It's very difficult to skate well at that height. And he does a pretty outstanding job of doing so, especially defense, where you could argue like defense requires a lot in terms of skating. There's backward skating. There's a lot of positional play. You're reacting to the way other guys are skating towards you. I think he does a really nice job on his feet, and he's got a hell of a shot too. I think he ripped a shot early in the year that at one point was one of the hardest shots ever measured in NHL history. I think it was pretty close to 104 miles per hour. The dude can play, and I think Kesselring is a guy who's going to have a huge role to play in the future of the Utah Hockey Club's success. And you got to feel like he's making the most of this opportunity, with injuries and the team being so snake bitten. But when they get guys like Sean Dursey back, John Marino, I guess when you say Maverick Lamoureux gets back and gets more up to speed and quits committing so many penalties, it's exciting to see like what that full complete defense is going to look like. And Michael Kesselring, I think, has a big part of that. So that's that. Hey, and last episode, I touched on it a little bit in my euphoria and my excitement to talk about Finland and what a great country that is, the happiest country in the world. I wanted to talk about Olli Mata, Juuso Välimäki representing the Finnish nation in the Four Nations Cup. I also mentioned Matthias Michelli got maybe a little bit snubbed on that, but I think anything can happen at this point. It's not until February, so we'll see. Injuries, people might decide, they're maybe not interested in doing it. I think you might see a few alternates sneak into the mix. I wonder if Michelli's one of those guys. But a guy who did not make a roster and who I think might be surprising to a lot of guys, a lot of people around the hockey world, Clayton Keller, a native of the St. Louis, Missouri area, did not make the American roster for the Four Nations Cup, which on the surface, I think seems pretty interesting. He's a 4-time All-Star. He's the captain of a team that plays very well at times. His offensive numbers are pretty solid this year. I think there's definitely room for him to be playing a little bit better. But I think it's very interesting that he was kept off the roster. I mean, this year in 26 games, he's got 7 goals, 16 assists, 23 points. He's a +1. And so I think on the surface, you might think, okay, what gives? Is there like some kind of Utah bias? Do they not want to get more Utah guys in the mix here? What gives? Why was Clayton Keller snubbed from this team? And I was thinking this a little bit, and watching the pregame show for the Utah Hockey Club kind of changed my mind on this. And if you don't have SEG, and I'm not just plugging this because, you know, I work for SEG Media and I work for Utah Hockey Club Plus, but please subscribe, please, I beg you, please subscribe. I'm saying this because the programming is actually really good. And in particular, I very much enjoy when Dom Moore is on camera. I love when he's in studio too, because he breaks down what's happening in hockey, and he breaks down the action really, really well. And when he went over the Four Nations Cup's roster, he went over each roster, kind of explained the highlights, the lows, you know, what the strengths of each team. And he made a bold prediction. One of his big bold predictions was that the American team might be the best American team in the history of you know, hockey in the United States. They're putting together a really solid roster. And just to run through it here, okay, this is going to be real quick. So here are the forwards that are suiting up for the Americans in the Four Nations Cup in February 13th. They'll be playing that up in Montreal. Matt Boldy from the Minnesota Wild, Kyle Connor from the Winnipeg Jets. Both those teams are having outstanding years. Jack Eichel, Vegas Golden Knights, love him. Jake Gunsel of Tampa Bay Lightning. Jack Hughes, and if I mispronounce any of these names, please forgive me. Jack Hughes, New Jersey Devils. Chris Cater, New York Rangers. Dylan Larkin, Detroit Red Wings. Austin Matthews, who spells his name stupidly, Toronto Maple Leafs. TJ Miller, the guy from Silicon Valley. he just somehow made the roster. Not him. JT Miller from the Vancouver Canucks. Brock Nelson, New York Islanders. Brady and Matthew Tkachuk, Senators and Panthers. Vincent Trocheck, New York Rangers. And then defenseman, Brock Faber, Minnesota Wild, who's a Minnesota guy, by the way, so good for him. I think his story is pretty interesting. Adam Fox, one of the best defensemen in hockey, New York Rangers. Noah Hannafin, Vegas Golden Knights. Quinn Hughes of the Canucks. Charlie McAvoy, the Bruins. Jacob Stanman, the Carolina Hurricanes. Or Sullivan, excuse me, Jacob Sullivan. Sorry, the screen's really small. Zach Werenski, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then Connor Hillbuck, the Jets. Jake Ottinger, the Stars, and Jeremy Swayman of the Bruins round out the goaltending crew. So the question becomes, if Clayton Keller was snubbed, who should he be swapped with? And I don't think there's an answer to that question, because this is actually a very solid American roster. Bill Guerin talked about it. Bill Guerin, former NHLer, I think he's like the president or general manager of USA Hockey Committee. He was in charge of picking this team. And he talked so much about how he was really wanted to have a team that was versatile, well-rounded, had a lot of hockey sense, all that. And the truth is, like, a good team needs a lot of guys that can play all three units, right? Not just even strength, but penalty kill, power play. And I think when you look at Keller's inability to be on the penalty kill, he does not play penalty kill for Utah. I think that might have been the biggest reason he was left off the roster. I mean, there's already so many great skill players on this team. You know, we're talking Jack Hughes, Austin Matthews, Kyle Connor. You know, I think what you're seeing is there's just not room for another skill guy. I think that a full team. It's the same issue the Utah Hockey Club has, right? Sometimes there's just too many skill guys. They need some meat and potatoes guys to get in the corners, dig out pucks, you know, play physical, kill penalties, all that kind of thing. And Clayton Keller just doesn't fit that mold. And I think that might have been the biggest reason why he didn't make that team. And back to my point, that was the point Dom Moore made as well. And that was sort of what got me thinking about this. And as I looked at the roster and stats, that was sort of, I arrived at the same conclusion that Dom Moore did. So he did a great job influencing me and selling me on that point of view. But I do think we'll see guys represent their respective countries, be it the United States, be it Canada, all that. You know, Finland, obviously, Olli Määttä and Juuso Välimäki are going to be representing Finland this time around. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see people get excited about international hockey. You know, the World Juniors are coming up. One notable omission from that when they announced the rosters was Tij Iginla, and I think a lot of people were really curious why that was the case. And we got our answer this last little bit. Tij, and I'm sure a lot of hockey insiders knew this was going to happen, so this is probably why he was not on the World Juniors roster. He's going to miss the rest of the WHL season with a hip surgery. He had some kind of hip injury. He's with the Kelowna Rockets. He's having a terrific season. Again, you probably remember Tij Iginla. He was the Utah Hockey Club's first ever first-round selection, 6th overall this last summer. He's up in Kelowna playing in the WHL, but not anymore. He's going to be missing the rest of the season. But he was, again, having a terrific year. Through 21 games, had 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points. I believe that was tracking for like a 30% increase from the year before. So they talked about it on Fresh Ice. I can't remember which one of the scouts it was. One of the big dogs in the scouting department said that Tij's trajectory was like that. Just a freaking rocket ship on its way up. It looked like that was still very much the case this season in the WHL, but disappointingly, the worst part of sports reared its ugly head, an injury to Tij, and he's going to miss the rest of the season. I think jury's out on how that'll affect his development and his road to getting into the Delta Center, to suiting up for a regular season home game or road game or whatever for the Utah Hockey Club. Did appear in 2 preseason games for the Utah Hockey Club, registered an assist. And I talked about it when I did my Tij time episode. I was like, I think he can hold his own. And I think I'm still excited to see Tij, and I'm wishing him well right now. It's tough to see. My nephew is just in the hospital, and he's fine now. But it's always hard when you're kind of laid up. Your spirits are down. You need people to lift you up, to let you know that they care about you. And I would like to do that for Tij right now. This is going to be a very special segment here on SLC Puck, the podcast that cares, right? We're talking about the power of the podcast. I'm the podcast that cares. And so what I'd like to do is send a care package up to Kelowna for Tij to enjoy while he's laid up in bed. Okay, so just going to run through some items here. I made these purchases today with my own money, mind you. And so I'll be shipping this up to Kelowna. There's no sense in sending it, just dropping it off at the Delta Center or at, the Oval. He's not there. He's up in Kelowna. So just to show you some fun little items that'll be coming your way, Tij, courtesy of SLC Puck. Fun little game, Simon Says, for you to play in your bed. Right? It'll help you, with your memory and hand-eye coordination and all that. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. That's headed your way. A little something. It's getting cold up there in Canada, I imagine. So I've got a fleece blanket, and it's got doggy pattern on it. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Keep you warm, Tij. You're welcome. And in that same note, some hot chocolate with the marshmallows. So I almost got the hot chocolate, separate, and then I was going to get a bag of marshmallows. But then I found these that had the marshmallows with them, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is what we'll send to Tij. So that'll be coming your way, Tij. But again, it always is nice to have like a nice handwritten sentiment for these. So I've also put together a little get well card. I got this at the Hallmark section at Walmart. So let me just show you this card. It's a lot of fun. It's a centipede, right, who's sick. He's got a thermometer in his mouth, and he's got all his slippers on the side of his bed because he's a centipede. He has a lot of feet. And then look at the inside. It's pretty fun too. So it says, "Here's hoping you're back on your feet again soon." So let's write something right now to Tij. Let's kind of personalize this. I think that would make it kind of fun. So you guys are going to watch this happen in real time right now. I'll try to write this as fast as I can. Dear Tij. Hey, buddy. Sorry to hear about your hip. No hula hooping for a while. Huh? Wishing you the best. Your friend, Austin, host of SLC Puck. Please like, comment, subscribe, and be on my show as well. And tell you what, I'm going to make this out. From all this is for you guys, listeners of SLC Puck 2. Okay, there you go. There you go. It's done. We're going to seal it up. We're going to put it in the envelope. And we're going to find a way to send this up to Kelowna. I got the address to the team right here. It's going to go your way, Tij, with all the other goodies. Feel better. We wish you the best, Tij. We're excited to see you here in Salt Lake City at some point in the near future. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see if this makes its way to Tij. So thank you guys for tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Really very much appreciate it. We'll be back on Wednesday. Again, the Utah Hockey Club plays tonight at 5:30. They're taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. I think the Flyers are in big trouble. I think the Utah Hockey Club got a nice night of rest after a big win. I think they'll be ready to go today in Philly. They'll get some cheesesteak in their belly. They'll run up the rocky stairs and schmaltz. They'll be ready to go. But however it goes, we'll be here. We'll talk to you guys soon. I don't think we're going to do a post-game show tonight. It's Sammy's birthday, like I said, so I think we're going to go out and have some fun with her. So we'll do that, and we'll talk soon, guys. Appreciate your support, and keep it real.